Okay, we can.
We will start in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, should we start?
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, you're going to. Are you? Do you all still have to do the introduction and all? Yeah.
Yeah, I will brief it and then you can, because majorly people after this lecture, they will watch it online on the YouTube channel. So they
Sure.
may be watching it after 6 months, 8 months. So we need to make a framework.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay. Jai Janendra, everyone. I welcome you all again to this very new lecture series which we have started this week. And today is the second lecture of module 2 of 5 sins. In the previous module, which we had months back, we have invited Prabha Didi, who is here with us, and she had beautifully explained about what are the sins and what are the 5 categories, 5 types of sins. And in the second module of the first lecture, we have learned in this week itself about the first sin, which is Hinsa, and we talked a lot about it, how the terminology works, with different examples, what are the different types of this kind of Hinsa, and we have also got few good questions from the audience on this topic. So today we will be starting again with the second part of Hinsa, second type of Hinsa, second type of sin, which Prabhadidi will be taking. So before I hand over the session to her, let me shortly introduce you all with this beautiful portal where you have joined. This is called JEEV, Jain English Education and Values, which we have dedicatedly designed for the people who wanted to learn Jainism in English. The content is same, the content is as it is what is there in the scriptures, only we have changed the medium, which is English. Since we know about the flow of Deshna Parampara, that how that Vadi is coming from Tirthankar Dev to us. So the thing is same, only the communication channel English is something which is different. And I'll tell you in the later part, in the last part of this lecture, how to access this beautiful portal. And you can subscribe to the YouTube channel to enjoy all the lectures, all the content which we are posting. Now, over to you, Prabhadidi. You can start today's second chapter, second session of Module 2, 5 cents. Over to you.
Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Airiyanam, Namo Uvajayanam, Namo Loe Savasahunam. Jai Jinendra, everybody. We are doing 5 sins. We saw details of violence. Today, we are going to talk about a little more details of falsehood. Falsehood in general, we call it as jhoot bolna, right? But we don't understand the full meaning of falsehood because we think it is as simple as just telling a lie. But there is a lot more to it than simply lying about something. And we'll kind of look at that. So the second of 5 sins, the first was violence. The second is falsehood, often committed without much thought. You know, we speak, we lie in joking. We lie when we want to, teach our children something. Sometimes we lie about things, okay? So we kind of take it very easy. Lying is kind of, people don't even sometimes look at it as a very big sin, but it is. Some common examples we can think of are like you bunk school to watch a movie and give a false leave note to the teacher, right? Hopefully your parents don't cooperate in that, but sometimes students do that. Or even telling parents that I'm going to study at a friend's house and actually go out to a party or play or something. Then hiding things from your spouse, a shopkeeper lying about the quality of his product. In the old days, or maybe even today, the sabji walas used to always weigh wrong, okay? Or the kirana people used to weigh wrong. So they could make a little extra money by, let's say, if they're selling something 500 grams, they may actually give you 400, even though the thing shows 500, okay? So these are some very common examples that people used to lie or still lie and don't even think much about it. And there is several examples like that. So they look like they're harmless, right? I mean, so what, we lied to go to a party. We really didn't harm anybody, right? We didn't. Violence, yeah, you're actually hurting somebody. But when it comes to lying, people easily think it's okay. We fooled somebody, right? They don't even think of lie as a sin. Sometimes people are even proud of lying. They think that they oversmarted somebody, but they fooled somebody and are actually happy about it, which is even worse. So it is about one's weight. We even lie about our weight, about our age. And those are like so common. People don't even expect you to tell the truth about those things. Hurtful words are also lies. So if I say mean things to you or hurtful things to somebody, let's say there is some negative aspect of somebody and I point that out, which will hurt them, that also comes under falsehood or lying. Okay. So what is the definition of falsehood? First definition is false understanding of the nature of substances and saying it that way, or the sentiment associated with it is known as falsehood. So that is like at the very top level. So first, we don't know what the Vastu Swarup is, right? What the nature of each Dravya is, what the nature of Pudgal is, what the nature of JEEV is. And we act accordingly because we don't even know the true nature. So whatever then we are doing under the umbrella of this universe is all falsehood because we don't even know the true nature of anything. So we don't know the true nature of JEEV. So we associate ourselves with Pudgal, this body, right? There is all falsehood, right? Because we are not this. Then, and then we accordingly talk. When we say my, we are pointing to this body. So our whole existence is like false because we have wrong association with the body, not knowing the true nature of the soul or the true nature of the Pudgal or the true nature of all the other six Dravya or even seven Tattvas. So a statement arising from intense passion. What are passions? Anger, deceit, krodman, maya, lobh, right? So because of those passions, suppose somebody stole our thing or we imagine that they took your thing. What happens? We will say hurtful things to them, will mean bad for them. All that comes under falsehood. Now, there are two types, just like in Hinsa, we had Dravya Hinsa and Bhav Hinsa. It's the same way in falsehood, same thing happens. Dravya Asteya, which is not understanding the correct nature of things and saying it incorrectly, is verbal falsehood. Like, because we are actually speaking about it, right? We are speaking that the universe is so big, or if we say, oh, I think this heaven and hell is all just made up things. They really don't exist. A lot of people say that. Why? Because they don't know what the universe is like. They don't know what the nature of the universe is. We are lucky enough to know it from the Arihant Kevalis, who are able to know everything with their soul, with the ability of their soul, without needing the physical indriyas. So basically, knowing all this helps. And that's why one should make the effort of knowing the true nature of things. Now, uh, saying someone or so now that was, verbal falsehoods. It is of, there is multiple types. First one, saying that something is present when in reality it is not, or vice versa. So what happens? Let's say somebody calls your parents, right? They could be asking for money, they could be asking for their time, and they'll tell you, oh, just tell them I'm out of town. And they are actually not, right? And does it happen that you do that? So, number one, you shouldn't tell anybody to lie on your behalf. And if somebody tells you to lie on their behalf, you should try to avoid it because you do get the paap and the consequences of it. Secondly, expressing a particular thing is something else or depicting its false nature. For example, saying that soul is body and body is soul, right? We do that all the time because we don't know the nature of the soul. Now, that is, of course, a big one, but even little things. You go to a jewelry shop, they may buy everything saying, oh, your bangles are not 22, they're 18 karat. When it comes to selling, they may sell you saying it's 22, and later on you get it tested and it turns out they were 18 or 20 karat. All that, even though the business person may justify that they have to do some lying to make a little profit, but no, it's not justified. It's definitely falsehood, should not be done. And there are definite consequences. It's not just like taking it easy shouldn't be done. No, it's a serious matter. You may think that by lying you made this little bit of money, but the consequences are not worth it. Now, the third type is saying hurtful words, insulting others, making fun of others, words against the message of the scriptures. So, hurtful things. Mother-in-law telling daughter-in-law, oh, you didn't do this right. Or, well, it's okay, sometimes you have to teach. But meaning or saying it in a way that would hurt the person in front of you. Okay, even if it's a mother, daughter, father, son, doesn't matter. We don't have right to hurt other people's feelings. We should try our best to say it in, even if we have to teach, say it in a way that it doesn't hurt them, right? Insulting others. And when does that happen? You know somebody's weakness. Not everybody is good at everything. We know that as a general rule. And if you try to point that out, whatever that person's weakness may be, that is a direct insult to them. And that comes under falsehood. We may not have thought of it that way, but it comes under falsehood, which is when we say it comes under falsehood, that means it's one of the big 5 sins. All right. There are obviously all the other quasi sins or, little sins, but the big 5, we all should avoid. So all these things come under falsehood. Making fun of others. People don't even think joking is a problem. When we joke, usually what do? We make fun of somebody's inability, the way they look, the way they act, and all that comes under falsehood. So we must try to avoid doing those kind of things. Or if we say words against the message of the scriptures, let's say we ourselves did not read the scriptures, right? We don't know what is mithyatva. That is, mithyatva of the scriptures is basically false knowledge or incomplete knowledge or opposite knowledge or not enough knowledge. All that is falsehood. So if we don't know, and then we start telling people, oh, let's do this Devi puja, this Devi will give us something. It's a major sin. First, we didn't do the effort of reading the scriptures, finding out what the truth is, the complete truth. And then we go around spreading incomplete truth. So we need to be very, very careful. Incomplete truth also comes under falsehood. So, words said to intimidate someone. Let's say somebody is very soft natured, right? And you shout at them. That's going to be, that's very intimidating for the person. Or you say something in a very, I guess, authoritative, loud voice, So we should not do that, because if it intimidates somebody, they are not going to perform well because they're scared of you. Sometimes people feel proud. Oh, when I go in the room, everybody straightens up because they're scared of me. No, that's not a great thing. That when you enter a room and people are scared of you. One's nature should be such that you are so polite, so humble, that no matter how big of a position you are in, that when you enter a room, there should be no fear from you. Now, a boss criticizing juniors in front of others. Does that happen at workplaces? Yes. Sometimes the doctor may not realize, but not doctor, I mean the boss may not realize and do that inadvertently, criticize somebody because they didn't perform well in front of others. So it is important uh, to be very careful that we don't do that. Okay, saying harsh truth that harms others is also falsehood. So what did we say here? We are saying the truth, right? Let's say somebody just went through a divorce, or somebody is not getting along. Okay, it is truth about them, but we don't need to spread that to other people. And if we do, we are committing the sin of falsehood. So suppose your colleague has a personal issue due to which he or she couldn't finish a project at work, right? And they confided in you that, oh, I have this problem going on at home and I'm not able to finish. So they come and confide in you, thinking maybe you'll give them a helping hand so that the boss doesn't get upset with them. And you turn around and tell everybody their personal problem or complain to the boss. So that is also part of falsehood. And one must not do that, because obviously you said something that is hurtful, even though it was truth. Okay. And I know these are things that often people say or justify that, oh, so what's the big deal? I said the truth. People don't think that even if it is the truth, but saying hurtful truth is equal to falsehood. That's something very important, which in general people don't realize that. Okay? They think they feel proud that regardless they said the truth. No, it is not a good thing to do. Now, fifth type is saying statements that promote violence and hatred. For example, giving instructions to kill or harm others. Let's say you have a lot of mosquitoes. You give instructions to fumigate them, or you give instructions to put mouse traps that would kill, or you give instructions to make people jealous of each other. You talk, say one thing that this person was saying this about you and vice versa to the other person. All these come under falsehood and they must be avoided. Now, just let me also give you what these are. When we said, first one is So the why we are doing Satyanuvrat, why we are not able to follow it, we are uttering untrue words due to negligence. We don't read scriptures, we don't understand the definition of falsehood, and we speak that way or act that way because of negligence, right? Now, when as Shravaks, we are supposed to renounce the falsehood, at least partial, which is called Ek Desh Vrat. So we should avoid all those 4 or 5 types that I just described. Perversion of truth, which is Sat Ka Apala, which means changing the truth in speaking. Propounding untruth, Asat Ka Udbhavan, which is you spread lies about somebody or an event or something. Third type is Anyatha Parupana. So you know the truth, but you speak something different. Distortion or telling otherwise. Lot of people do this inadvertently. Sometimes they really mean it, sometimes they don't mean it. They may have heard it and not understood themselves, and unknowingly they distort the truth and pass it along. We all know the whisper game, they call it Chinese whisper or whatever it is, right? One person starts says something to somebody in the ear, and then it keeps following. By the time it ends, the whole thing completely changes. So why did that happen? Lack of knowledge. They didn't hear properly. Just like we say, when we don't hear the scriptures, when we don't know the scriptures, we are bound to speak false. Grahit, garhit vachan. Garhit matlab hurtful vachan. Harsh and cruel in speech. So let's say somebody working for you, a servant, is not cleaning the house properly, not doing the dishes clean. Of course, you can point it out. But if you say in a hurtful manner, insulting them, why didn't you do this? You should have known this, that also comes under falsehood. And you accumulate the paap of falsehood. Inciting conflict. So you're instigating conflict between 2 different people. So maybe they were okay themselves. We see this in these TV shows, right? This women goes to one person and say, so and so said something about you. And she'll go to the other person and say the same thing. Oh, this person was talking bad about you, which never happened. And now these two are either fighting or not liking each other as a result of what one does, right? Or you inflicting pain, which is inflicting verbal pain by your speech to somebody, also comes under falsehood. Contradicting scriptures. So you know that the scriptures don't allow Kudev, Ku Guru, Ku Shastra, and you try to propagate that because you may have the wrong understanding that worshipping Kudev is going to give you some benefit. So if you contradict the scriptures and say the wrong things, that also comes under falsehood. Fostering violence. So you pretending, telling people it is okay to do violence for certain reasons, or you promote violence. Let's say that government took over Girnar or Shatrunjay or whatever. Yes, we do need to protect our tirth, but as much as possible in a non-violent way, right? We never try to promote violence. All that comes under falsehood. So, and falsehood is one of the big paap. So the consequences are also very bad. Okay. Now, what is bhav asteya, asatya, which is false belief, false knowledge, and false understanding of the nature of substances that lead to false statements and psychic falsehood, bhav, asatya. Okay, so which I guess in Hindi would call it mithya darshan, mithya gyan, right? If you don't have the right understanding, right belief, obviously your charitra will also be wrong. So all your bhav will be towards falsehood. So you must uh, read the scriptures, understand the truth the way it is. So even in your thoughts, wrong thoughts are not coming. In the absence of true knowledge about the soul or religion, how can one ever speak the truth? You don't even know the truth. So whatever you speak is going to be false. So if you want to prevent yourself from that big sin, it is important to read the scriptures, understand the nature of things. Now, so false knowledge is a root cause of falsehood, right? We don't even know the truth. So how anything and everything we speak is false. Let's say somebody tells me, oh, describe to me what South America is. I don't know. I haven't been there. But I have this ego. How can I not explain? So what will I do? Make up things? Just say, oh, this is the way it is, and this it. It's going to be all false. Same thing happens if you don't know the scriptures, you don't know the nature of things. Whatever comes out of your mouth is going to be false. So it causes misery to the self and others who get instigated to walk on the wrong path by taking the wrong inspiration. So you must understand that falsehood is, if you lead somebody to wrong path, you are going to get the paap and bear the consequences of it. So one should be very, very careful. Okay. What are the adverse effects of falsehood? Everybody must have heard that story of that guy that talks that says, "Oh, lion, lion," or what is that? Fox came, right? And people all go up on the top of the mountain, and they find out this guy is just joking, right? He was lying. That shepherd who was lying about the wolf, right? And what happens in that story? After a couple times, few times he lies, he thinks it was a joke and enjoyed the joke. People stop trusting him. So when finally, actually, when the wolf comes, he again says, wolf, wolf, and nobody goes, thinking he's again lying, and he gets killed. If we lie, we will meet the same fate where nobody will trust us, help us, or have any relationship with us. Falsehood, lying will do that to you. The bad reputation of a liar will stick for a long time. Okay? If you lied a few times, people think that this person is not worth trusting. Losing trust is very easy. Gaining trust is very difficult. So one must be very careful. Just so you know, history of Jainism, because Jains in general in the past and hopefully even today in the present have been very ethical people. They normally don't lie. And that is why in the old times, Jains were always treasurers for the kings because they were always the most trusted community. Even today, if you notice, there are some Instagram reels or YouTube reels why Jains are rich, why people want to do business with Jain people. Because in general, I'm sure there are exceptions everywhere. In general, Jains don't lie. They are trustworthy people. People like to do partnership businesses with Jain people. So, not lying is a big attribute. Okay. And when everybody follows that, the community at large has a good impression in the world. So if you're a Jain, and we must continue this generations after generation, so that Jains are known to be trustworthy, to be able to give up their wealth for the benefit of others, those type of special attributes we have. One lie needs the support of 100 other lies to avoid exposure to the truth. And I'm sure we all have experienced this, even committing a small lie like uh, going with a friend somewhere and telling your parents that, oh, you went to study. So what happens? Let's say you didn't go to study to that friend. First, you have to call that friend and say, oh, if my mom calls to find out, you please tell her that I'm here. Right? That's another second lie. First, you lied to your parent. Then you're telling your friend to lie that you are there. Right? Then, so let's say then your parent talks to the bookstore people. Then again, you have to tell them to lie. And it's like the chain reaction. You have to keep lying. You came home, then the parent asks, oh, so what did you do at your friend's? What did you eat at your friend's place? Again, you have to lie, right? You have to make up things because you never went to that friend. So to keep one lie, you have to have so many lies. You keep on saying lies one after the other. So, and every lie counts. It's all building up there with your karmas. So you have to understand that this is not worth it for the little pleasure or whatever you get. It causes anxiety because you lied. Now you have to justify that lie. Like I gave you the example, your mom asked, what did you do at that friend's place? If you really went, no problem. You'll be relaxed about it. You'll say, oh, this is what I ate at their place. But now that you didn't go, you have to make up things that this is what I ate. And it causes uneasiness, anxiety. And then you're afraid that your lie may be exposed. So is all that anxiety, fear worth it? No. You rather tell the truth, and even if your mom was going to scold you, it's better getting that scolding than to lie. And if you're a parent, I would suggest that if your child is speaking the truth, that reward them, don't punish them. That way, they learn to always tell the truth. So, due to due to their misdeeds, a liar will always be betrayed by his family members, friends, servants, etc. He will be deprived of trustworthy associations, right? So you go at a party and people know this person is not worth trusting. You lose business commitments, you lose any kind of business associations. Uh, if you sell something, people are not going to want to buy from you because they don't know if they can trust you. If you're looking for a job, they don't want to give you a job because they don't know if they can trust your resume. They don't know if whatever you're showing that you know if you are not lying about it. So if person lies, the word spreads easily. So one has to be very careful. To avoid such misfortune, one must speak the truth at all costs. When I say all costs, what does that mean? Let's say somebody told you that, oh, please lie for me in a court. लोग गवाही देने जाते हैं. I'll pay you some money. No, even if you're losing that money that maybe you would have gotten paid to lie for that person, don't do it. It's not worth earning those few pennies or few little money to lie for somebody. It might not be easy at times. How? Let's say your close relative needs you to vouch, lie for them. If you don't lie, it's going to be a big loss for them. Let's say it's going to be a big business loss if you don't lie for them. That's a difficult situation, right? Because you may break relationship with that close relative. They may say, oh, you couldn't even do this much little bit for me. I got so much loss because of you couldn't lie. But It'll give you mental peace and save one from demerits in the future. The person you were going to lie for is also going to avoid Paap, even though he may get punished for whatever it is that he did wrong. But it's better that than both of you get Paap, because someday you will have to pay, if not this life, next life. So when you get consequences that you feel you didn't deserve, that to this life you have been honest and all that, guess what? It's coming from your previous life. Nothing ever happens wrong to anybody. We get exactly what we deserve. So, honesty is the best policy. That's the only way you can have mental peace and, save people from depression, guilt feeling, all kinds of things. Even in the short term, if it looks like you might get punished if you told the truth, it's better to tell the truth. Okay? Even your own kids, you should teach them that even if you know that the parents may slap them or scold them for doing something wrong, still it is better to tell the truth than to avoid. Okay? Now, what would you do to avoid falsehood in your life? We must give supreme importance to ethical behavior and lead a life based on Jain principles. We all know the Jain principles of non-violence, truth, aparigraha, all the main 5 things, right? If you live that ethical life, you will not go wrong. Maybe in the short term, you will make less money, right? But in the long term, you will accumulate enough punya that it will eventually come back to you. So it never makes sense to earn with unethical living. And when I say unethical living, a lot of us don't think that saving taxes by wrong means most people will justify it. No, it's not justifiable. We must honestly pay all our taxes. We should try to understand the true nature of things from learned gurus, scholars, and scriptures and assimilate it into your beliefs. When I say learned gurus, scholars, we have to first test that they are true gurus and scholars telling you the right things and not misleading you. And then learn the scriptures and accordingly follow. So obviously, if you go to a guru, then it's like sitting in a boat of stone, which is they are drowning and drowning you as well. So it is important to understand the scriptures firsthand so you can judge if you are in company of good guru or not. Okay. We should make it a habit to have authentic information before deciding about anything. So make sure the source of whatever somebody's telling you or you're reading, where it's coming from. If it is coming from the Granth, originally from Arihant, then gurus who made the scriptures, we should test the validity of it. And a very easy test. Any scriptures or any knowledge that takes you towards Vitaragta is true. That takes you away from Vitaragta, takes you towards Rag and Dvesh, is not true scriptures. So that's a very simple test you can do. Okay, so if any guru suggests that do this, do that, and you think that no, this is taking me more towards ego and rag and all those things, then just say no. This cannot be true by Jain principles. Do not take it as truth by going by hearsay or reading. So if you just read scriptures or somebody tells you, always verify that it's authentic information. Truth has so much power that a person who takes its side will win in any situation. If not today, tomorrow. But eventually, truth always prevails. And we have so many stories in the history about those, right? Ramayana is all about that. Mahabharata is all about that. All our Jain stories are about sacrifices, saying the truth, and eventually those souls made it to moksha. of course, our Jain stories end in moksha. That is the real happily ever after, not the ones that we see in movies or other stories. So, example, Mahatma Gandhi, who used satyagraha and got India free from British rule without any war. Now, I know there are controversies, but his purpose was to not do a lot of violence, to stick with the truth. And that word satyagraha means agra for the truth, right? Insisting on the truth. And eventually, Britishers felt that this person is not going to give up being on the truthful side. And hopefully, that was Nimit in, at least partial Nimit in getting independence for India. We must always think twice before we speak. Try never to utter harsh, hurtful words that might be painful to others. So, whenever we speak, we should think, am I saying this something that is useful to others? Am I saying it in a nice, sweet manner? Otherwise, you have a choice of staying quiet. You don't need to speak everything that you know. We can try to maintain transparency in our relationships and never hide anything, especially between spouses, parents. One must not hide anything. If we commit a mistake, we should confess it to our spouse, guru, or parents and try our best to rectify it. It takes away the guilt and eases stress. You may have a nice spouse who doesn't care if you don't share everything with them. But to get rid of your own guilt, you must share everything. Okay? So if you're young, always share everything with your parents. If you have a spouse, share everything with your parents as well as spouse. Okay? Always speak beneficial, less and sweet words. It's okay to speak less. You don't need to blabber everything. But when you do speak, it should be comforting words to others. It will ensure minimal clashes and great relationships. Okay. Now, there are exceptions. Sometimes when you're raising kids, you have to be harsh depending on what works to discipline them. But there's a catch. Inside, you should not mean ill for them. So it's kind of like acting, but you really don't want to be harsh to them. Okay. So this just about concludes our falsehood chapter. And now I'm going to just give a little summary of what we have divided this into some modules because so this was module 2, which is violence and falsehood. And we'll summarize the 2 modules now, and then we'll take question answers. So we can classify violence and so this is because we did violence last class, right? So we are also going to summarize that. We can classify violence as external and psychic. Acts of killing, harming, teasing, nighttime eating, or inflicting pain on others are physical violence. And if you notice, I put nighttime eating in there, right? If we know that nighttime eating causes violence and we are purposefully eating, there are times when you have things you cannot help, but we must always try to avoid as much violence as possible. Psychic violence is impure dispositions of attachments, aversions, delusions, and passions that harm the soul's purity. Anything that prevents from the soul to experience its true nature is being violent to our own selves. And that's the worst kind of violence, right? Now, under physical violence comes the dravya pran. A lot of people ask that why is it less sin to eat ekendriya, like we have to eat vegetables, right? We Jains try to minimize violence by eating only ekendriya, like sabjis. Even that We try to avoid the Anantkai, which has more bodies and souls within one body, right? So the way it goes is the maximum is 10 pran, which is 5 senses, man, vachan, kai, that is 3, which is 8, and then shwashoshwash, breathing, and ayu, age, right? So everybody has ayu, age span, no matter what they are, Nigod or Ekendriya, Duyendriya, all of us have ayu. We all have shwashoshwas, and we all have kaya. And out of the others, the man, vachan, and 5 senses, out of the other 7, if you have one of those, you have total 4 pran. That's the minimum one would have. Even Nigod and Ekendriya will have minimum 4 pran. And then as the progression happens, 2 indriya, 3 indriya, then 5 senses, then one has man and speech, and all that keeps adding. So the more the pran, the more the violence. And that is why we Jains practice not eating anything consuming more than one indriya, one sense being. And even that, it's not like we think we are allowed to, or it's our right to eat. No, we still feel sorry for it. We still feel that I cannot sustain, the body cannot sustain, and that is why I have to do that hinsa. So there's a difference in the thought behind, right? One is there are people in the world who thinks, oh, these animals are put on the planet for us to eat. We Jains don't think that these plants are put on the planet for us to eat. No, it's our majburi that we have to eat because we cannot sustain ourselves without eating. So there's a big difference in bhav. And then the bhava pran, like I just explained, what your thought process is, even when you have to kill the ekendriya, comes under bhav pran, internal cognitive and emotional facets of the soul's power. So let's say I have to chop a vegetable, right? I cannot sustain. I have to do my arambhi hinsa. While I'm chopping, if my thought is that I wish I could even do without this, and I have to do it because I cannot sustain without eating. Okay? So those milder thoughts will go a long way. Now, hinsa is mostly everything we do causes violence. So there are 2 ways you get karmas. One is avrat rupa hinsa, which means you did not take a vow. Let's say we eat vegetables, right? We know we are not going to eat more than 10 or 12 vegetables max in a day, but we don't take a vow. What happens? We get paap of all the vegetables in the world, all the water in the world, all the fire in the world. Whereas if we take a vow that I'm only going to eat 10 of these today, then you've limited your paap to that much. Okay? Even though you will get paap of whatever you eat, but at least you've limited it. Okay? So there is avrat roop hinsa, which is like useless. You were not going to consume those things anyway. So you might as well take the vrat or the vow. Okay. Then parinaman roop hinsa. Parinaman means the way your transformation is happening. While doing so, we do a lot of violence through mind, body, and speech. So the actual, hinsa that we do is called parinaman roop hinsa. So that is 2 types of paap we gain. So one, I think we can easily avoid. Which one is that? Avrat rupa hinsa. So if we get into a habit of taking vows and only limiting ourselves to what we really need to eat or, get violence for, that will help us. Okay, so that is why taking vow is important, and Purusharth Siddhi Upay Shastra talks in detail about that. So if you want to learn more about the Vrat and all that, you can read that Shastra or even Shravakachar. Always try to avoid purposeless violence. We do that a lot. We leave the lights on, we take long showers, we don't even realize that there's no need, and we are committing so much violence, just wasting water, wasting electricity, right? So that is called anarth dand, right? So it is, who would not waste? Only the person who is more of an aware soul. And a lot of people think, when parents say, oh, turn off the lights, don't take too long showers, what will people say? Oh, you guys are always worried about money. No, it's not always about money. Money is a very small price to pay, but the paap you get and the consequences of that paap is a huge price to pay. So one must be always watchful, aware. Violence is done by one person, for example, फांसी की saja or lethal injection when somebody gets punished. But all the viewers bear the bad paap consequence due to anumodna. Let's say the person who in the old days it used to be called Jallad, but let's say today whoever gives the lethal injection, right? This is his job. Let's say he couldn't find any other job, so he has to give that injection for that person to be killed. But uh, what happens to the all the viewers that are saying, oh, he deserved that punishment? The person whose job it is may really don't not feel it's right thing to do, but he has to do it because he doesn't have any other job. He may not get the paap, but the persons who are watching and agreeing to the act, accepting the act, are getting all the paap of that violence. And think about this, how often do we do this? Whether we are watching the news, whether we are watching violent movies, whether we are thinking, getting violent thoughts about others, those all contribute to our path. And then when we get the consequences, we think, why me? Right? So let's say everybody in the plane crash, 250 people died. And there is always these questions about why all these people had to die. Oh, poor innocent people had to die. No, there is no poor innocent people. They all got those karmas together. They all did some anumodna all together. Millions of people did anumodna of killing when Saddam Hussein was hanged. Millions of people did anumodna when, what was that other guy, whoever, some terrorist was killed. And guess what? We all got those karmas where someday we get killed in a boat or a flight or whatever it is together. In war, lot of soldiers fight, right? Let's say in the Indian Army and the US Army, there are a lot of people that are in the Army, Navy, Air Force. They joined that as a duty towards the nation. But that doesn't mean they necessarily want to kill. But if a war happens, they have to do their duty, right? Even though they're killing. But depending on the intent, the soldier may not get the paap or have to bear the consequences. But the king or the president who is ordering them to do so will definitely get the paap and the consequences of it. So it's not a great thing to be in charge of anything. People think, oh, I want to be in management positions, or being a president is a great thing. It is not. It's a reason for accumulating a lot of paap. Because any orders you have to give, guess what? You have to bear the consequences of all the paap for all the orders that a president gives or the king gives. So one has to be very careful of what they wish for. All right. Now we'll summarize falsehood. Falsehood is of two types, verbal and psychic. A false understanding of the nature of things and saying it incorrectly, stating facts otherwise hurtful and insulting words and statements causing violence and hatred are forms of verbal falsehood. False knowledge leading to dispositions of falsehood is psychic or bhav asteya. Reading and understanding the true nature of things and following the instructions of scriptures concerning appropriate conduct helps one avoid violence and falsehood. So it is our prime duty to read the scriptures and understand and accordingly have our conduct. Whatever we speak should be beneficial to others, not hurtful, and verifiable truth, which means we don't make up things. We don't speak unless we have verified the information. So, those are the three important things. It has to be beneficial to the other. It should not hurt, even if it is truth. If it is hurtful, don't speak. And it has to be verifiable, which means if you do these three things, you will not be spreading rumors, you will not be hurting people, and you will not be speaking more than necessary. Okay, now just to give you guys a a pictorial picture of this, I will try to, let's see if I can bring up the presentation. Mm. Mm. Okay. Just give me a minute. We did the slides on violence last time. So today I will only cover the falsehood slides. So we're not unnecessarily repeating. Okay. 1 second. Is it visible yet? Okay. Okay.
Yes.
All right, good. So it's a repetition, but if you see pictures, it somehow sticks a little better with you. Okay. Asatya, false understanding of the nature of a substance and saying it that way, or the sentiment associated with it, known as falsehood, is known as a statement arising out of intense passion that is not commendable, is also false. Now, we saw two types of falsehood: verbal falsehood, that is dravya astya, that means you physically actually lie about things, and psychic falsehood, that is the bhav asatya. Verbal falsehood, not understanding the correct nature of things and saying it incorrectly, is verbal falsehood. The different falsehood statements are when we say something is present here when it is really not, or vice versa, it is a false statement. When we say a particular thing is something else or depict its false nature. Okay. Now, verbal falsehood, dravyas, asatya, saying extremely hurtful words, insulting others, words that make fun of others, words against the message of scriptures, etc., are all a type of falsehood. Statements that might be true but cause harm to others should also never be said. Falsehood also includes statements that promote violence and hatred. This is something for all of us to contemplate for our own things. Have we done that? Psychic falsehoods, bhava satya, false perception, false knowledge, and false understanding of the nature of substances that lead towards the disposition of making false statements and internal falsehood. These are all bhava satya. Reasons for internal falsehood. We don't have the correct knowledge, absence of true knowledge about the soul or religion. False knowledge itself is the root cause of this false disposition. Intense passions are violence, and one speaks lies only in the presence of negligence and intense passions. So either you are negligent about something or you are under the influence of Krodman Maya Lobh. Okay. Now, what do you get with speaking not the truth? Fear, shame, misery, anxiety, punishment, and bad reputation. That is only like the immediate bad result of it. And then lives after also, you would have to bear the consequences of it. How to avoid falsehood? Ethical behavior and lead a life based on Jain principles. Try to understand the true nature of things from learned gurus, scholars, and scriptures and assimilate it in your beliefs. Before speaking, think minutely about what you are going to say. And you see this blob, it says, think before you speak. Make it a habit to have authentic information before deciding about anything. Just going by hearsay or reading, do not take it as the truth. Perfect example of this is those WhatsApp forwards. One person starts a wrong, some rumor, and how fast it spreads because people keep forwarding without actually checking the authenticity of it. So when we do that, we also fall under this category of falsehood. Now, to avoid falsehood, never utter harsh, hurtful words that might inflict pain upon others. Maintain transparency in your relationships and never try to hide anything. Confess your mistakes and try your best to rectify it. Always speak beneficial, less, and sweet words. This kind of language with others will ensure you will have minimal clashes and great relationships. So just remember, even if you're saying the truth, if it is hurtful, don't say it. Kind words cost nothing. Smiles don't cost anything either. So instead of showing anger, show a smiley face. So that wraps up our falsehood episode today. And now we are open to questions.
Okay, so first of all, thank you very much for the beautiful explanation to the second sin, which is falsehood. Uh, I think this is the perfect way to discuss on each of the sin because we have time and everybody knows what is falsehood. Everybody knows what is hinsa, ahimsa. Every sin we have been learning since we are very young, but usually we don't pick up those things which is not lying in falsehood. We usually think कि let's hide this. It won't fall under that category. But unfortunately, we also need to think about the intentions, about all the consequences which it causes. So definitely all these examples will give us a better understanding of what is Paap. Because karma is already doing their own work, it is automated, and what we can do is we can directly just involve into not involve into all such speaking things, all such falsehood things or violence which we have already learned in the previous session. So now the session is open. If anybody has any queries or any questions and you any value add-ons to this topic, yes please, Saurabh ji.
Ma'am, you have explained it in a very beautiful way. Still, I have a question. If a person, if a Shravak has too much attachments in all kriyas, like
Mhm.
he is in a मिथ्यात्व कि वितरागी भगवान की पूजा करेंगे तो सब अच्छा होगा, और he is very much attached to that thing. And
Mhm.
we all Shravak, we are Swadhyayi. And if I feel ki I should tell him or her that this is the not way, means this is not the Vastu Swarup,
Mhm.
and if that person feels bad, like uh, he may get hurt. So how should be done कि अपने भी कर्म बंद ना हो और उसको भी समझो.
Right. So, okay. So, yes, when you understand the Vastu Swarup, you want to share it with others, right? Because let's say you understood the true nature of things, it has given you less stress and whatever benefits you got. It's natural, right? Even in the worldly, ladies go see a sale in the shop and they want to tell it to all their friends, right? Anybody wants to make investment, somebody knows this stock is going up, they'll tell all their friends. So, why not such a big thing, right? So, naturally, you all want to share. But this is something you want to be watchful. If you think this person in front of you is totally not interested, he might be adversely affected, then stop suggesting. First, just say a couple times. If you see an interest, only then further explain. Otherwise, you leave them alone. You never know, their time might come later. But we should not try to force it on people to the point where they get hurt, because anyway, they're not going to listen to you in that situation. So, yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for the question. Any other questions? Anybody?
Jai Jain Prabhaji, just introducing my son here, Sayam.
So
He
I'm glad
also joined
you
the
came
lecture
in.
today.
Was it quite easily understandable for you? It was a simple topic, of course.
Yes, ma'am, it was understandable. Actually, if I may ask a question as well, so it was a very good presentation. Ma'am, one question. So you had mentioned that if you eat less vegetables, you take on less pap.
Mhm.
Uh, so my question in that is, what is the virtue of having less pop? Like pop is, from my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, pop is pop, whether it's 50%, 75%, 80%. So how do we, as gens, justify that?
Okay. Yes, Paap is Paap. You're right. Okay. Now, what happens is every thought, deed, anything we do. So there is this, imagine there is this huge dust particles floating all over the universe.
Mhm.
What are those? Karmic particles. Now, as soon as you have a thought that is anti your soul's purity, that karmic particles gets attracted towards your soul. When you have this thought that, oh, eating this gave me happiness, or doing that act gave you, think that those are the reason for your happiness. There, and those passions, those are like glue, which will take those karmic particles, transform them into karma, and they get in the same space as your soul.
Mhm.
When that happens, so now you have these karmic body, right? Have you heard about the Tejas body, karmic body that your
Yeah.
soul has? You have these karmas, which now karmas come with four things: type, duration, how long it's going to stay with you, intensity, how intensely it's bound. So, depending on that intensity, how bad fruit it will give you. Um, Correct me, somebody, there's a fourth aspect, regardless. Anyway, so quantity, type, intensity, and what am I missing?
Sthiti,
Stiti.
Sthiti and Anubhav.
Yes. So now, so what happens is, so this is a very natural process. Nobody's doing this for you. There's no God sitting up there managing your whatever, you know. It's like these latest cameras that are on the roads, right? You do something wrong, boom, it catches your name, number plate, and sends you the ticket home. Nobody needs to be aware, nobody needs to do, right? It's like an automated process. There's no God sitting up there doing this, right? So it is bound to happen, whether you like it or not, whether you understand it or not. This is the way the true nature of things is. So it is in our benefit to understand that nature and accordingly change our behavior. Don't want those bad consequences. It's simple as that.
Mhm.
And there are scriptures full of explaining what you do, what consequences you will get, and to the minutest details. Because Kevali Bhagwan has gotten this knowledge through their soul, and we can verify. See, we ourselves can also, as we study in this course, prove certain things to ourselves by following, by experiencing. Okay, I change my attitude based on what I learned. Has my stress levels gone down? If yes, then you've proved that what you learned is meaningful. So it's a verifiable science.
Mhm.
So,
Prabhaji, I also had a small follow-up question.
okay.
We talked about Satya.
Mhm.
Now, Satya, as we know, is also one of the Lakshan that we practice and talk about. So, would you be kind enough to sort of make a little bit of a connect between what we said today and what we talk as Satya Dharma, या उत्तम सत्य की जो हम बात करते हैं. How
What
does it connect?
Definitely. So what we talk today is our behavior, our emotions about Satya, right? व्यवहार में हमें क्या करना है. सत्य धर्म के 10 लक्षण is about the characteristics of our soul. So Satya Dharma means your soul has the complete truth. It may not be evolved yet, but what is the truth of your soul? And that is what we learn during the Das Lakshan and the Satya Dharma, because it talks about that details. And it also will talk about what I talked today, which is the Vyavahar Satya also.
I think at the start of the lecture also, you were talking about the true nature of the substance.
Yes.
So I think where you were going with that, correct me if I'm wrong, is if in the general practice or day-to-day behavior, if you don't follow the Satya or truth, then how can we understand the true nature of the substance and therefore connect to that Satya Dharma as we speak of, right?
I would say the other way around. If we understand the nature of things, we will have no reason to speak the lie.
Exactly.
Right? It's like you know all the features of your iPhone. Are you going to lie about it? No, you know it. Right? So it works that way.
So it starts with the right knowledge and the right belief then.
Yes. So when you start with the right, see, that's why we don't focus. Unfortunately, a lot of the sadhus, because they don't get to spend, I mean, it's not their fault. They don't get to spend enough time with the people in front of them. So they only can give you bits and pieces. So they only tell you what to follow, right? If they had enough time, or if the audience gave enough time to the sadhus, they would actually teach you the scriptures. Because when you understand the true nature of things, all the other ethical things naturally follow. You don't want to lie, you don't want to invest in wrong things, because now you know what the consequence is going to be. It's like, oh, don't steal in a store. You know you're going to be put in the jail. How many people are going to feel like stealing in a store? Not. There are cameras up there. It's kind of like that. Understanding the true nature is the first thing one should do.
Absolutely. If you speak from the right belief and right knowledge, then it'll be the truth.
And it always will be the truth, right? We have no
Always.
reason to lie. And that is why we believe in the Vitragi Bhagwan, because they have the whole complete knowledge. They're able to see past, present, and future, and they don't have any passions. So they have no reason to lie. So that is why we only believe in the words of Vitragi Bhagwan. If they don't have rag, then they have no reason at all to say anything untruth. So very easy for us. Well, if what we are learning does not come from a Vitragi Bhagwan, we may not be able to trust. But if it is from Vitragi Bhagwan, very easy to trust, because there is no reason to. For example, what do you call? Let's say you are an expert in your field, right? Suppose you're a chemical engineer, for example, right? And you have this little niche of I'm making up things. When you go to a conference and people know you're an expert on that topic, is anybody going to doubt you? No, because they know you know it all, and that's what they came to hear from the experts. So if we want to be eternally happy, where do we go? Who do we learn from? Somebody who's already attained that.
Exactly. So I think, are we saying it like a positive feedback loop that we consciously try and attempt to speak the truth, and that will lead to the right knowledge and belief, and vice versa?
It works both ways.
It works both
To
ways.
understand the truth, which will lead you to not do wrong things. And as a practice, we practice to do the right things, which is speak the truth, which will reduce our passions, which make it then again us be open-minded to listen to the scriptures and read the scriptures.
तो पहले हम व्यावहारिक स्तर पे सत्य
Yes,
बोलना शुरू करें, तो उसकी वो that practice will lead to the true dharma also.
right.
This is
Obviously, somebody who is a murderer or extreme passion person, angry, you won't see them in Parmagam classes, right? They don't, because they're so intensely in the Paap arena that they don't even have the ability to
Exactly.
want to know the truth.
So
So yes,
starting to be aware about it, the need for it.
yes,
That's important, I think. I think that's where the true importance of the lecture today is, that it
right.
is important as a first step towards right dharma और धर्म के लक्षण की जो हम बात करते हैं या
Yes,
तीर्थयात्रा की जो बात करते हैं उसकी तरफ ये पहला कदम है.
right. So if the sadhus are trying to make you at least less passion, they're not completely in the wrong there. Because if you at least are less passionate, there will be more of a chance for you to be open-minded to listen to the truth.
Exactly. So Prabhaji is also introducing my daughter-in-law Samriddhi Jain.
Jai Jinesh. Hello.
She also listened to at least half of it. She got a phone call. She had to go away, but she was part of
Very
that.
happy to see you guys are here, and we are now having this whole platform called JEEV, where you can, the good thing is, like, it's not a huge commitment. You can go there, you can bits and pieces, whatever topic you think you want to listen or read, and it's like all there. There's movies there, there is the whole script is there, then there's lectures. So it's like
There
whichever,
I will explain it at the end. That I will,
and show
yeah.
you what the website is all about and everything.
Actually, I asked them to come and join because you had said in the class that it's going to be oriented towards youth. So it's a
Yes.
more simplified, practical, day-to-day version of what we should be trying to do in order to take the right steps towards, growing in the path of
I hope
path
you
of-
got a point or two more than what you already do, right? There's certain things like we don't even think it's wrong, and we discover that it's
Yeah,
not real.
that's enough, I think. I mean, even if we make that start, I think that's probably enough. So,
Yes.
no, thank you so much. I think it
Okay,
was
okay, thank you.
very
Yes. Pra-
Yeah, one more question, Amitji, you
I
have a
had,
hand
We have
raised?
Amitji's hand raised. Your question, please.
yeah, I had one question, right? First of all, thanks, Prabhaji, right, for the detailed insight. Right. So we spoke about non-violence and we spoke about falsehood. What if there is a conflict? Let's take a scenario where there is a conflict between non-violence and falsehood. So, like, if I say the truth, it causes harm, but lying avoids the harm, then what should I follow? Right, a practical scenario. Right, which way I should go towards? Right, one will violate ahimsa, one will violate falsehood.
Okay, so I'll tell you this Muniraj story. Okay, so Muniraj goes for ahar in somebody's house. And what happens is that there was these people had some gold rice made of gold. They had few dana, and they happened to be out in the open. So the Muniraj was there to take food, and the householder went in the kitchen to get food. Meanwhile, this bird comes and thinking it's grains, it picks up, eats the grains, and flies away, or rather sits on the roof. Now the householder comes back with the food, and Muniraj was the only one there. And now they're wondering what happened to my gold grains. And they asked the Muniraj that where are my grains? Did the Muniraj know where they are?
Yeah,
Amit,
he knew. He knew.
he knew. So now this is the same problem now he has. What happens if he tells the truth?
Uh, no, the householder will understand, right, that the bird actually took it away.
No, they won't.
They might kill the bird.
Gold, right? Yeah, they might kill the bird to
Mm.
get the grains. They're gold grains. They're not simple
Oh,
kadana, right?
it-
So now the Muniraj has the same situation, like you said. So he has to choose between truth and so Muniraj stays quiet.
okay. So then you're preferring non-violence. You don't want the bird to be killed.
Yeah, and neither do you
That's
want to
the
false. He didn't say that
okay.
somebody else ate or anything else either. He just stayed quiet.
But then would it not fall under the fact that he knew and didn't say? That's also
It does,
one of the types of falsehood, right?
but in Muniraj Bhumika, they are not to involve in any of those. So then they don't indulge. Now it is up to the fate of the bird and up to the fate of the householder. What happens?
Okay,
I
yeah,
think
that's a good.
The harm may have happened to the Muniraj, because what happens is in this situation, the householder may be doubting that the Muniraj. So even though it's hurting him, but he still doesn't speak.
And let the
Prabhaji,
householder think that Muniraj has done it.
Yes.
But from Bhav perspective, Muniraj will not get a karm because he did not have that Bhav, neither he did the Dravya
Yeah.
stealing, right? So, okay.
Yes.
Prabhaji, just a quick follow-up on that, what Amitji asked. Isn't it also a virtue as to know when to speak and when not to speak?
Yes. Yes. In some cases, like we are Shravak, we are not Muni. So in our situation, sometimes to protect somebody's life, we may have to lie. For example, somebody's running. Let's say कोई गुंडे पीछे पड़े हैं या चोर पीछे पड़े हैं, and this person ran away, and you want to protect that person. You may want to say, "Oh, I don't know where they went," is the best answer. But sometimes you may want to deviate in the wrong direction so that person can be protected. In which case, yes, you will still get paap of lying, but then punya of saving that life also.
Prabhaji, either way, the Punya and Papa are not cancelling each other, correct? They have their own parinamas.
Their
They
own,
still,
right,
yeah.
right. पाप का फल
Yeah.
अलग consequence, पुण्य का अलग consequence. But we must understand that that is the nature of things.
Okay, so I guess that's all for today. And very happy to have this to and fro conversation amongst Prabha Didi and all the students who have joined. And to summarize, definitely we know the concept of Keval Gyan. We know that Kevali Bhagwan has that supreme knowledge, that he has the knowledge of every inch, every second, or whatever, every jeev, karma, every parmanu, every substance is parinaming, is changing, and that everything is in their head, in that knowledge, in the supreme knowledge. So both punya and pap, it's very calculative, it's very minute, and out of all those punya pap calculation, who is doing what is the parinam, what is the abhipray, he just know it through his knowledge, and he doesn't do anything because of he doesn't have any rag, dvesh, moha. So the meaning of raising this point is everything is so calculative. That nothing cancels. Punya doesn't cancels the pap. Pap doesn't cancels the punya. Everything is dependent on the karma, and our motive is just to know the true self, just to know the automatic, the natural wish vyavastha, and that will lead to the right conduct, samyak darshan, samyak gyan, samyak charitra, and that will lead to the moksha for all of us, since we all know that we are Siddha Swarup, we all are Siddha Bhagwan. Just because of Paryay, we are in this mundane. And that's all for today. Further, we will have the third module in few months, and then we will just end this topic, this entire five sense topic. So now I will shortly summarize you with the access points to JEEV portal through a short presentation. I'll just take 2 to 3 minutes of yours. I hope my screen is visible. So, JEEV is Jain English Education and Values. You can just look at the screen to the people who have just joined the lecture for today. You can visit the JEEV website under the resources tab. You can navigate the topic you want to explore. This portal is just similar to your other portals like LinkedIn, Learning, Coursera, or whatever tech platforms you may use for your learning professional courses. So, this is just like that, but here you don't have to pay. It's just full free of cost. When you click on the topic, you will receive a link to access the course. You can see the screenshot attached. You can view the courses on the dashboard. Whatever you want to learn, let's say five sins, four states of existence, Dravigun, Paraya, whatever. Select the course you wish to access and you will gain entry to its content, including all the articles, presentations, which Didi already shared on the screen today in the lecture, and quizzes and Gurudeshri lecture snippets. There are many more resources which you will see on the portal. And if you have any queries related to how to join, how to access, you're getting any error in joining the lecture, you can just email us on support@jeev.net.in. Social media handles are already being shared here. And you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel to get regular updates on which lecture is we are going to be telecasting. So this lecture, we are recording it now. We will be uploading it within the next 48 hours once the editing is almost done. So we will just add it on the YouTube, so you can also revisit the lecture. And that's all for today. Over to you, Prabha Didi, for Jinwani Stuti.
सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्मस्वरूप। सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्मस्वरूप। सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्मस्वरूप। निज निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है। इसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार है, वंदना शत बार है। जय जिनेन्द्र।
Thank you, everyone. Jai